I think that some people are deliberately trying to completely clear the cultural landscape of our past in order to say there's nothing good, nothing you can hold on to, no one you should revere, you've got no heroes, the whole thing comes down, who's left standing? Oh, we've also got this idea from the 20th century still about Marxism. And no, I will not have the entire landscape deracinated and then the worst ideas tried again.
The following is a conversation with Douglas Murray, author of The Madness of Crowds, Gender, Race, and Identity, and his most recent book, The War on the West, How to Prevail in the Age of Unreason. He's a brilliant, fearless, and often controversial thinker who points out and pushes back against what he sees as the madness of our modern world. I should note that the use of the word Marxism and the West in this conversation refers primarily to cultural Marxism and the cultural values of Western civilization, respectively. This is in contrast to my previous conversation with Richard Wolff, where we focused on Marxism as primarily a critique of capitalism, and thus looking at it through the lens of economics and not culture. Nevertheless, these two episodes stand opposite of each other with very different perspectives on how we build a flourishing civilization.
I'm trying to figure out who I'm gonna do my next series to. I'm gonna keep doing this series to Jordan Peterson for the time being. Anyways, we're gonna look in at this moon photographs. Like I said, you can go online, download them. I downloaded about 20 of them, and plus I have some of my own on there photos that I took with my telescope. I'll go back and forth, reverse telescope to standard telescope. Anyways, the other day I was talking about this one, and as it was coming through the sky, and we're not getting it real good, but enough for you to get it. Let's see if I do this and this. Okay, so I don't have no filter on the camera right now. I'm gonna go get one in a second, and then I will show it to you with a few different filters, but I just want to go for this large one here. So he has a bald head. He's got one eye right here, the other eye is over here, his nose is right here, his top of his nose, whatever, his nose. You can see up his nostrils real good. You can see his mouth right here. You can see he's got a beard, right? He's got a beard and this coming up the side, like sideburns. That's why I called him the Scotsman, I guess. He's got a Scottish look to him, I guess. I'm going by the sideburns. But nationalities can be all put together once we start looking at all the faces and everything, because I'm not 100% sure on a lot of the nationalities. Like this one up here that I told you, it goes from African to, it's hard for me to say because there's so many black features. Maybe he's Ethiopian, maybe he's, because I know it goes from black features, and as I bring the camera around, this one's going to go to Eastern Indian look, more or less, Even skin tones and stuff like that will change in the images. I'm going to take the camera off. I'm going to go in on these moons. I'm going to look at them good. But while I got this here, just look at this large one, because there's many large ones, because there's another one right here within it. I don't want to confuse anybody, but eye, nose. This is the canine one I was telling you about before, and his mouth is here. So when I come around, you'll see him too. But right now, it looks like there's no shadows going on where you're catching the eye, the whole side of the face, and the bald part of the head, which, of course, these darker colors, these shadows, the darker colors, are going to look a little different. I do have cropping tools and shit I'm going to throw out and crop some of these images and stuff as I go along. But for a moment, just take a look at this for a minute. If I can bring this in a little, and I'll bring this back a little to get rid of that. There we go. All right. So you see how I'm changing up the lights and shadows just with doing that, right? And as I told you, the lines in the moon are gonna. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to go look for yourselves, and you'll see what I'm saying is true. And then you definitely get a lot further quicker if more than one person was looking at this. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I'm looking around all over line, and nobody else is. They're all freaking think they're in outer space, or they think that Jesus is coming to save them, or they think that Nibiru is here, or they think that everything but reality. Everybody is using their imagination due to the programming, obviously, because that's all the programming that we've been programmed with over the last couple hundred years is all what everybody thinks that it all is. And you can't get them to go look for themselves. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'll get into the lines, the lines that are telling us about time. What they tell us about time, I still don't fucking know. So that's what I'm saying. If more people were coming into all this, it would be much better. Image within image within image, from the veil to the ground, feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. The moon, I'm gonna bring you into a lot of body imagery that's in the moon, which is great to have body imagery because of the femininity aspect of it. Because, like I said, it's hard to pick out femininity everywhere else other than the moon. Which should tell everybody something also. It tells me something. I just don't even want to talk about it. All right, let's listen to these guys for a minute.
To conquer, to expand.
Although that itself, of course, is a universal thing. I mean, no civilization I think that we know of doesn't try to gain ground from its neighbors where it can. The Western ability to go further, faster, certainly gave an advantage in that regard.
Do some civilizations get a bit more excited by that kind of idea than others?
Possible. It's possible.
Because you could say it's the Western civilization.
First is a blue
because the
filter.
Technological innovation was more
We'll let you
efficient.
look at that for a
Yeah,
second.
doing that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But
Although,
maybe
I
you
mean,
wanted it more too.
Image within image
Well,
within image.
the
So again,
Ottomans
you got
wanted
down
this
here a
awful lot.
rodent's
They did
face.
very terribly well.
Eye with the nose right
For
here.
many
You can tell it's a
centuries. One
rodent's
shouldn't
face because
forget
look, it's got that little thing going on
as
here
did
to his
others.
mouth and stuff. So there's a rodent's face right there.
I'd also
for you.
say,
At
though,
this-
that, and again, it's
at
a
this
very
particular
broad one, but it's
distance.
worth throwing out there. I think self-criticism is...
Okay, then down here, you got this other one I was showing you guys for the last few days. I'm just going to throw them out there at you, just so you know. So the eye, the nose, and he's got some body imagery too. Remember barrel chest, and I told you could see some of his stomach. You got that one there. I can crop him for you, so you just have the top of his head. Maybe you'll see him better. I'll get into that in a minute. I just want to show you at a first glance, okay? Just at a first glance, if you really look with your eyes and stop looking at the moon as if it's a big rock floating in outer space, and Elon Musk is right behind it with his fucking spaceship and his Tesla car heading to Mars and all that nonsense. You got to get all that shit out of your mind. All the Armstrong stuff and people walking on the moon and all that, and China going to the moon. You got to get it all out of your mind. Star Trek, Twilight Zone, all the movies, television shows you watch, Star Wars, all the books you read. You got to just get rid of it all. It's all garbage. Go see for yourself what the system is. Go look for yourselves. Because I'm telling you right now, they're all fucking lied to you. Everyone lying to yourselves, as a matter of fact, lying to yourselves by pretending to believe these people, because it was all right here all along. So look around. Okay, so up here, now that I got the blue filter on, when I go over to the other table, I'll cut them out for you again, but eye, nose, and mouth of another human face right here. See his forehead and his eye, nose, and mouth. See him? That's a sea of tranquility over here somewhere, right? That's what that's supposed to be. So, you're going to reconfirm this on the next 30 to 40 moons that I'm going to go through over the next couple of weeks, because I'm going to do the rest of this series. I don't care how good the mineral streets are outside, because the mineral streets are really good today, and they were yesterday too, but I'm not even I'm wasting my time. So I'm not even dragging back out to look at mineral streets. I showed everybody. I went back and watched my videos. I always do. And they're really good. Anybody that's coming to my videos should be able to see what it is I'm showing them. They're just not going to get it because they have to go look at it for themselves in order to get it. That it's real, because it goes against everything you ever told. So, in here, right, you got this large body image also within this other one that I'm telling you about. Her head is here. She's got these fluffy shoulders. Her arms go down. And she's got the low hangers I was telling you. And she's got a larger set that are not so low, but they're definitely larger breasts than they're noticeable anyway. But I like the low hangers better, anyways. Myself, I'm a low hanger guy. And you can see her belly. She's really, let's say, superhero looking. She's so large. Her legs are really large. She's got definition and cut in her legs when I go in on it later, and all that kind of stuff. But again, as I'm pointing all these other ones out, still keep in mind that really large one that I'm trying to show you with the eye, the nose. See how the other side of his face is a little bit shadowed out, because we're going to lose that. I'll be able to get rid of that later. But either way, you can still see it's his whole face. You can still see his whole head, I should say. You know, the only part of his head you're not seeing is his right ear and a little bit of the back of his head. You know, because you can still see all the way over here to his head. His ear is right here, so you can see the back of his head right over here, which is all other images too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to keep you locked in on that one for a moment. And throw a few little ones at you at the same time, because everything's collage. It's collage from the veil to the ground. Even the veil, I don't even go in on the veil anymore because there's too much. People don't get it. So if I'm not able to get the mineral streets, which you call clouds, if I'm not able to get that through your fucking head, and those are right above your head every day, God, what chance do I really have, you know?
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward in a way. There are people who get to work for free. It's economic in nature. Yes, but in order to do it, I mean, almost always there are some examples in the ancient world where this wasn't the case, but almost always it had to be subjugated people, or people regarded as different. One of the things, actually, I've tried to sort of inject into the discussion through this book, among other things, is a recognition
That's
that
a green filter.
there were
See
very
if I like
major
it anymore
questions still
than
going
blue.
on in the 18th and early 19th
I think I'm
century
gonna
that
go
one
with green
resolved,
because
which were one of the
photograph has a red
reasons
tint
why
to it
slavery
as it
was
is.
not as morally
So I'm gonna go
repugnant
with the green.
to people then as it was to us now, as it is to us now, and that's the question of polygenesis and monogenesis. At the time of Thomas Jefferson, the founding fathers were thinking and working, they didn't know, because nobody knew, whether the human races were related or not. There were arguments, the monogenesis argument, that we were all indeed from the same racial stock. Polygenesis argument was that we weren't. We were, black Africans, Ethiopians.
Yeah, I gotta get my cropping tools.
At the time, so tried some of the first slaves, were different from white Europeans, simply not related in any way. And that makes it easier, of course. That makes it easier to enslave people if you think they're not your brother. Am I my brother's keeper? No, he's not your
Cropping tool. And I'm gonna try to stick to some of the same ones that I've been looking in
It
on
was a very
lately.
troubling argument in the 18th and 19th century, also because there was a biblical question. It threw up a theological question, which was, I mean, people were literally debating this at the time. Was there also a black Adam and Eve? Was there an Indian Adam and
That's
Eve?
funny that he's
Was
saying
there an
that, because
American Adam and
this
Eve?
is one of the examples I was gonna
This was a
use.
serious
That
theological debate.
they're actually
Because they didn't know the answer. And I mean, people say that Darwin solved this. It wasn't just Darwin, of course, but by the late 19th century, the argument that we were not all related as human beings had suffered so many blows that you had to really be very, very ignorant, deliberately willfully
Camera
to
equipment.
ignore it by then.
So
All right.
no longer was, after Darwin, a theological question. It became a moral question.
It was already a moral question, but it clarified. Darwin clarified.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that down for a minute. All right, so the whole Adam and Eve thing that he's talking about. Okay, so when you're looking at the moon, I'll take this out. Matter of fact, maybe I'll take this off too and see what I get. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the filter off for a minute. All right. So when you're coming in at the moon and you're looking around at all the images, right? I was gonna use this as an example one day. Taking some of the black African, whatever, I'm just going to say black because there are too many black races, nationalities, to just say African, so African, Asian, that I always say, and then some of the Caribbean islands, and even in Australia, you've got black natives that are dark. The noses start changing, I guess, when you get over to other places like Hawaii, where they're still dark, but yet they start going a mixture of Asian and black almost. I know they'll be offended when they hear that, but I'm just saying, nationality, putting faces, because they go by faces. So I'm gonna, go in on this face a little bit more and more. And even though it might look a little funny now, don't stress about it. I'm finding angles as I'm talking to you. What I'm doing is moving my camera around, because as I explained, it's lights and shadows first. First it's lights and shadows. Then it's distances and angles. Okay. Angles of perception. So, I gotta get my stick too. This is the thing. I'm not a fucking entertainer, and I gotta move around, so my videos are gonna seem shitty sometimes. All right, erase him out of your mind for a minute and get the white boy behind him. So you got eye with a nose and a mouth down here. He's white. You can see the hair up here, hairline. He's a white guy. Okay, and he's right next to this black guy, which is right here. Now, I'm going to try to get it, so I'm trying to do is, just to let you know, as I'm moving this around, I'm trying to get rid of this point, because there's a point, see this little point right here that's on this other face, because it's image within image, but this whole area ends up working as his shoulder. So maybe if I just take it out manually. Okay. And then I need to come down, and I don't have enough light on them. So what I'm going to tell you about this, what I know how this works, when I turn this photo around the other way and then turn my camera around this way, the light comes from the computer, in this case, because it's a photo on a computer. So the light comes out in a different way. The same way that I can lay light over it, the same thing I'm doing with these filters, I'm laying shadows over it rather than laying light over everything that I'm looking at, right? This is all I'm talking about in a visual aspect of it all. So I just got used to doing all these things, so maybe it's really quick and easy for me to do, and I'm moving around real fast and stuff, so that's why I'm explaining some of the things I'm doing literally, rather than anyone having to say, oh, just use your imagination and fucking look around and use your... No, you're not using your imagination. Your imagination, you're all done with the imagination nonsense. You can take your imagination back later. Believe me, it's easy to get to, obviously. You've been living by it for a few thousand years, probably 6,000 years, been living by our imaginations. So I'm going to bring this down here a little bit. I can't touch the screen because it gets too dark, okay? I'm just looking for another facial feature on this guy right here. Because what he just said about Adam and Eve, right? When the false creator started his division, right? He or she divided himself because it was division. So when we say, was there a black Adam and Eve? Yes, you bet there was. And as a matter of fact, we can even prove without a doubt, using reality, what we can see with our own eyes, right? We can know now, no more guessing, that men and women are definitely equal because they were divided. That's how the false creator / creator created us. Everything was divided. So we were divided by nationality. See the black man? And then we were divided by nationality. Let me get him again. Where is he? Fuck is he? Right here. White man. So that's just two examples, but they're right next to each other, so I'm using them. All the nationalities are in here. So even we'll see people with, again, if people know facial features, which we're not too good at, unfortunately. I'm terrible at it myself, as far as knowing nationalities, a nose, eyebrow structure, chins, lips, all these things. It's important. Not even just for the humans, but feline, canine, rodent, ape, and beast as well. And the beast is actually combinations thereof, the feline, canine, rodent, ape, and human. That's what a beast is. It's combinations of them. So back here again in the what they call the Sea of Tranquility, use my stick, because every time I put my finger in front of the camera, it blurs it out. So when you're doing this, you're going to use your camera as a viewing device. You download these moon photographs onto your computer so that you can spin them around in circles. I don't have no filter on right now. This just happens to be an orangey, which adds some contrast for me. And I can show it to you easier and stuff like that. If I want to put more shadows and add shadows, I can. And then I just do this. And remember, every turn, every movement of my camera is going to be doing something, right? And my eyes, where my eyes are locked into my camera, because now I can leave my camera here and I shift my body over here, I see different angle. So you have to keep that in mind as well. I'm very aware of that now. That's why when I'm making these videos, I'm very careful to double check and make sure my eyes are centered in my camera first up here, centered, so that when I'm showing an image here centered, eye, nose, and mouth, then I'm sure that I'm going to be able to get it for you so that you can see it as well. Because if I'm over here, let's say, you might, and then okay, well, I guess I could do it as long as I know that I'm locked onto it. Then I guess I know that I'm good. I only know how to do this because I'm doing it so many times. So there was a lot of times when I was putting up videos and I'm looking at something and I'm saying, maybe it's because I'm better at pointing it out as well too and stuff, where before I would just say I was aggravated and I'd just say, yeah, see the face, you know, and then there's like 20 faces that people can make out, right? So that might get confusing. So when I go like this and my camera, I get it locked, and then I say, okay, eye, nose, mouth. You can see the whole outline of the face, you can see the hair up here, and you can see the chin. So I can make that one out real good. But now when you come over like this and I crop it again and I try to crop it for you, then I can show you the next face, right? That's the other one I was pointing out. Eye, big schnoz, long schnoz with the mouth down here. And I can crop them for you. And I can center him. Then I can go like that. And there is a real big schnoz that way too. Let's see. There he is. Okay. So so it's that easy. Now, if I take that off, I could probably do it get them even better for you. Let's see. My point is that here's the Sea of Tranquility area, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they call this whole area over here is the Sea of Tranquility. So when you go in, don't be afraid to look around in there because the imagery is banging. So you see this face here, eye, nose, mouth down here. See him? Oh, I'm sorry, mouth further down. Don't go with that one. Eye, big schnoz, another big schnoz one, mouth down here, way down. Cause see his hairline's way up here on this large one that I'm trying to get you. And I could try cropping, but maybe I won't. There you go. Okay, then right above him, again, Sea of Tranquility. Eye, nose, pointy little weird looking nose. Let me make sure I get his mouth. Same mouth, big teeth on that one. Yep. And his head goes all the way up here, and he's got a hairline too on these large eyes. Because again, it's image within image within image. I'm trying to... Yeah, these eyes. Eye, pointy nose, and I want to bring it down for the large mouth. And you can see his hairdo. Hairstyle, whatever the hell you want to call it. Alright, let's see. So anyways, that's a Sea of Tranquility, just a couple of them. The deeper I go, I can keep going deep. Alright, so her again. Because I just had her on the other computer when I had 30-something minutes. Alright, so you see the low hangers? See them? 1, 2, oh, they're nice. I love the low hangers. And then her face is right here. These act as her shoulders, but as I showed you in the other video, those are actually images as well. Faces, because the whole system is. Now, they look like very puffy shoulders, but when you see how large her body is, her arm comes down this way. She's even got hand on this side and a hand on this side, because her other arm, you catch a little bit of her arm, not at this angle I'm at, but I'll do it another day for you, or if I don't get to do it later today, because I don't know how many videos I'm going to do. And I'm trying to stay away from pointing out the other ones in there, but here's her legs. And then down here, she's got a start of a foot is the best I ever get out of the feet. And it's not a definite because I never was able to count any toes. And anytime I'm finding hands, I'm looking for fingers and toes. So if the hands are together, I mean, I can go in really deep and look around because I know where the images are now, which you will too. Everybody will. Just go look. Okay, where's the best angle? There she is. There's a good angle for her. Yeah, then I start pulling him in more once I come down this way, this is the guy with the laughy fucking big smiley mouth. See his big smiley mouth open, smiling at you. There you go. I'm gonna go in on his face. Whoa, whoa. Now he's got several sets of eyes because it's image within image. But the eyes I'll give you on this one to go with this nose here will be this eye and this eye. I'll give you that one first. See, it's way up here. See his hair and shit all over work. That works as his hair. And then his nose and his mouth open. And again with another broken tooth. So I don't know. They're trying to tell me something, I guess. The gods are trying to let me know that don't feel so bad that you got a broken tooth. He's also, the other things happen with him as well too, because see, these are her upper breasts. Yeah. See these I believe are going to end up being her upper breast. They are, because these her low hangers are the nose of this image. See the nose of this one. Eye, nose, and mouth. And then you come down to the next one, a set of eyes. Eye, same nose and mouth. Then come down to the next set of eyes. Eye, nose, and mouth. You see how that works? Using the same exact mouth. Because I'm going to run my camera back up again. We're going to try that again. I'm going to go up high. See how I'm cropping the mouth all the way up here so that I can bring it in for you? So eye, or no, do I want to start with the higher ones? Eye, nose. I need it to work for that face, and mouth. Yeah, I don't know if I got to get down a little further maybe to be happy with that. But anyways, the next one, eye, same nose, mouth. So now the eye's between the nose on this one. On this one, eye, the same. This eye and this eye could be being used with this nose, and this ends up being the mouth. Let's find out. Let's move around. So a lot of faces in there. Her shoulders, right? I was showing you her shoulders for, what am I at for minutes? 30-something minutes? 32 minutes. Okay, her fluffy shoulders. I was saying in an earlier video about the bird beak right here. That this possibly could be a bird. Because look at the top of its head. It reminds me of some bird that I seen one time. And birds are very rare and stuff, so I'm always interested in seeing. You're never going to find wings anyways. I don't think so anyways. I've never seen wings. But bird faces I've seen. Okay, so anyways, let's look at some of these. So here's her face right here. That's the middle face of that large body, of this large body that I'm talking about. That's standing there looking at you, okay? So that ends up being her face. So when we go in on her face, okay, now I'm going to come back with lots of shit going on, but just, her, you know, where's my stick? Right here. Her face right here. Just keep an eye on her face as I come back out. So those, again, work as her shoulders. So now let's go around and look at those so-called shoulders. I'm looking at all this over here, too. Try not to be distracted by all the other imagery. It's pretty fucking cool. So you got this one over here looking off in that direction, this darker area, which works as a rather shoulder. But it's image within image within image, so you can come around and do that, and then get the next one. Eye, nose, and mouth. You can see clarity and intent in all of the images when you start looking around. It don't just look like, oh, I'm looking at the moon. It's a bunch of blobs of dark colors and some blobs of light colors. No, it ain't that. No, you ain't going to look at the clouds like that anymore because the clouds are not clouds. You're not going to look at the moon like that anymore because the moon is not what you were told it is. It's all going to be different now. It's all going to be better. You're going to know reality and truth now. Everybody wake the fuck up. Back to this. So when I come in on this, let's go for this one. Let's go for this one. This one's pretty cool. So I'm tilting down, I'm angling down to grab some of these other faces that are in here. So let's go with this one. Let's see. Look at my camera set. So eye, nose, and mouth of that one there. Now that's dark skin on that human face. It's got a little white on the nose and a little bit white here and there. Also looks like you got a horn. I don't know if it goes with that same image. Yeah, it does. Because you got a horn here and you got a horn here. So you don't, if feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, humans and beasts are the only ones that I ever see with horns. It's pretty funny. Because in our conscious reality, we have lots of creatures with horns. So I'll have to try to explain that in the next series because I don't think I'm going to get into it in the Jordan Peterson series. So I'm angling my camera down this way because I want to get this one, her other shoulder. Whoops, where am I? This shoulder here. I want to look. I'm looking for something in particular. Don't think I'm gonna. Where the fuck is she? Well, there's one I'm gonna find it here. Maybe it's because I blew it up. Maybe that's why. But it usually looks a little more what we would call space alien-ish, you know. And as you well know, if you're listening to any of my videos, there's no such thing as outer space or space aliens. But there are such things as insects and bugs, and we can see in our conscious realm that also look like space aliens. In our imagination when we see space aliens, because they're not real and they don't exist. But anyways, let me see, am I gonna get it? And it looks like on this face goes in several different directions, but the one's looking off in that direction looks like it's got a little bit of a bust to it, and I'm always looking at that. So in other words, a neck and a little bit of a shoulder before it runs into the next image under it. Alright, so back out here, back up here. What am I at? Don't tell me I went past my time. Hold on. Okay, so I just rotated. Just rotated it just a little bit. One turn.
And a lot can be learned from the answer. But there are moments in Genealogy of Moral that were very useful for this book. One of them was the moment when Nietzsche uses a phrase that I've now stolen for myself, appropriated, you might say. Where all
right, so some of the same ones that we were going in on
who
the last couple of days.
Long since closed, and then cry about the pain they feel.
The Jesus
now,
image.
How do you know?
The nose, which I want to keep pointing out, the hair going around this way to the top of his forehead.
I'm not saying you can never know.
See his upper lip.
But it's hard.
See the mouth.
So when somebody says, I feel that my life hasn't gone that well and it's because of something that was done to my ancestors 200 years ago, maybe they do feel that. Maybe they're right to feel that. Maybe they're making it up. Maybe they're using it as their reason for failure in life. Maybe they're using it as their reason to not even try. Maybe they're using it as their reason to smoke weed all day. I don't know. And who does know? How can you work that out? And that's why I come back to this thing of who are we to constantly judge in this society other people who we don't know and attribute motives to them based on racial or other characteristics.
And as you write in this part, I like your cultural appropriation of Nietzsche, and at the same time canceling Nietzsche in the same set of sentences. But you write in this part about evil,
No, I didn't cancel Nietzsche.
Well,
Can't cancel Nietzsche. I'm saying treat him carefully.
Okay, so as I come around this way,
but you can judge
I'm
a
gonna
man's
change him
character
up.
by
I'm
which
gonna move
parts
his
of
eyes.
Nietzsche
Hold on, let me find him again.
he quotes.
Fair enough. I think when you meet people who do Man and Superman a bit too much.
Okay, so let me get on his eyes again.
Now
his
you're
tongue.
pulling in even deeper water,
Okay,
referencing
so-
Hitler here. Okay. So you write in this part of the
I'm
book
gonna bring
about
him
evil.
over, and I want to get you into another one.
Quote, what is it that drives evil? Many things without doubt, but one of them is identified by several of the great philosophers is
There we go.
resentment. That sentiment
Okay,
is
so I'm
one
gonna
of the
lose
greatest
his
drivers
tongue.
for people
I'm
who
gonna
want to
try to crop at
destroy.
the bottom on his tongue, so that you're
Blaming
only
someone
getting
else
the
for having
top.
something
So
you
now we
believe
got
deserve more.
eye, using the
And you're
same two
saying
eyes.
this kind of
The
resentment,
nose. Now he's no longer
we
the
don't
Jesus
know
look though.
as
Now
it
he's the
surfaces
bald,
whether it's
kind of
genuine
baldish
or if
here.
it's
Let's see what he's got in
used
here in
to
the
sort
back.
of
Nah, he's
play
always just a
games
little
of
bald.
power
I
to
don't see
evil
any
ends.
side hair or anything on that one.
Can you speak to this?
And
To
now,
this
after I
because
do
it's such
that
an
one, let me do
fascinating
that. Let me do
idea
this in
that
order.
one of the
First, I
biggest
get rid of the
drivers
tongue.
of evil in the world.
I give you that one.
Is
His mouth is
resentment.
still
Because
here.
if you
It
look
still
at-
has an open mouth. Then as
Boy,
I
if
go
you
in
look at human
tighter,
history,
I'm
if
going
you
to
look at
crop at the
Hitler,
same time down here.
so much
Now
of the
we're going to get,
propaganda, so much
using
of
the
the
same
narrative
two eyes,
was about resentment.
now I'm going to get Mr. Frowny Puss
So is that
right here.
surface or is
See,
it
eye,
level or is that
eye,
deep?
his eye widens,
resentment
and he
could
got
be-
the
it could
frown
be
in
any
his
of the
face,
above.
using the same
First of all,
nose.
preface it, everybody
Let's see if I
has
can get him better than that.
I use the term ressentiment, which is thought very similar to resentment. Let's stick with resentment.
Okay, maybe if I crop
So we
him,
don't sound
maybe
too
if I crop him,
pretentious.
I'll have better luck doing that with you. All right, back to okay. So now we did all those
Let
ones.
me give you a quick
So
example of somebody in
again,
our own day who has a form of resentment. Vladimir Putin. Did you see Navalny's documentary Putin's
Right there.
Palace? Yes.
okay, from this one here,
You remember the
eye,
stuff
nose,
about
with mouth,
Putin as a young
mouth
KGB
open,
officer in
tongue
Germany?
sticking out.
Remember the stuff about Putin, his first wife's resentment of one of his KGB
Okay,
colleagues?
now
who had
I want to go to
an
this guy.
apartment that was a
So I'm
few
going to turn my
meters
camera
bigger
this
than
way,
Putin's
come down at
apartment.
him. Very
Yeah, it's
human
very interesting.
looking.
And by
Okay,
the way, I'm not saying that
eye,
Vladimir
nose,
Putin became the man he has
using
become
the same
and
mouth
invaded
and the
Ukraine
same
because
tongue
he didn't have an
that I was
apartment he
using
liked
off the
in
large image.
Berlin or Munich,
Uses
wherever
the
he
same
was.
one.
It's a distinct possibility.
My point is my point is that resentment is
Now
a factor
the mouth
in
is
all
at
human
this
lives, and
angle.
we all
The mouth
feel
is
it
curved up
in-
this way,
in
and
our
this one,
lives, and
eye,
it's
nose,
something that has to be
and
struggled
mouth.
against. Resentment is, in political terms, can be a deadly. I mean,
Okay.
it's an incredibly deep thing
And
to
then
draw
remember,
upon.
I come over this way, and I can
You
widen his
mentioned Hitler.
face to get the
Obviously,
bulldog
one of the
look.
things that Hitler
With that one
relied
there
on
that
was
I like so
resentment,
much.
obviously.
I gotta go down with the
Almost
camera
every
a little more.
revolutionary does. I mean, the French revolutionaries did as well.
There we
And
go.
not without cause. There's a good reason to feel
Changing my
that
shadows
Versailles
and
was
lights.
not
Changing my
listening
lights
to
and
Paris
shadows.
in the 1780s, and feel resentment for Marie Antoinette and
Okay,
her palace.
same
within the
image,
palace,
way
ignoring
changing the
bread
angle. His
shortages
nose gets
in
pointy.
Paris.
Let's see what this happens with
So
down here.
resentment is
There you go.
it's a very understandable thing, and sometimes it's justifiable.
Okay.
And it's also deadly to the person as it is to the society.
Okay.
It's an incredibly deep sentiment. Somebody else is
Before
got
I
something that you should
end
have.
this one, I wanted to go in on the wizard. There's a
The
wizard
problem
up
about it
here
is
that
it-
I was
it's-
showing
it
you
has
on
the
another
potential to be
video,
endless.
but I don't know if I'm at the right
You can do it
angle
your whole
for him.
life.
I need to
And
turn
one of the
it
ways I've
again.
sort of found myself explaining this to people is to say it's also
Actually,
important
maybe
to
this is
recognize
a
that
good
resentment is
time
something
to
that can
do-
cross absolutely every boundary. So, for instance, it crosses all racial boundaries, obviously. It goes without saying. More interesting
This
is it
one's pretty
crosses all
cool too,
class
and I'll get him good
boundaries
at this
and
one.
socioeconomic
Okay, so
boundaries.
eye,
And
and
if I was
nose
to sort of simplify this thought, I would say,
in there. Obviously, a
I
black
guess that
man,
you and I,
white
and
beard,
everybody
white
watching,
mouth for
knows
some reason,
or has known somebody
but
in
his
their
face
lives
is black.
who has
I'm gonna come over here for him.
almost nothing in worldly terms, and is a generous person.
Okay, another
a kindly
black man.
person, a
Got
giving
some
person,
headdressing thing going on, which I
a
can't
happy
explain.
person, even,
Could
a
be just
cheerful
white
person.
hair. Could just be an old
And
guy, and maybe
I
he's
think
got a
we
white
probably have
beard and
also
mustache or something of that nature.
Seem to have everything.
I'm always thinking wearing apparel, but it doesn't
And
have to
filled
be.
with resentment.
The way this is rubbed out, it could just be white hair.
Somebody else.
Because right above him, of course, is another image, and it's a feline
She got
right
this,
above
I should have
him.
got that. And on and on and on. It's a human
Anyways,
trait.
pretty
And
cool.
one of the things that suggests to me is that we therefore have a choice in our lives about this. And this is something which we can do something about, not limitlessly.
Just to let you know,
But for
too,
instance,
on the moon map
there
model,
are
these are
very
the
good reasons
Americas.
Some people in their lives
From
might
here
feel
to here,
resentment.
all this is all the
Let's
Americas
say you're
on the
involved in
moon map
a
model.
car crash and a friend fell asleep at the wheel, and that's why you
Anyways,
spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair. It's a
she's
perfect
good
example
back
in this American
here.
context at the moment.
Let's see.
You would be justified in feeling resentment. And at some point you have to make a decision, which is, am I going
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
trying
that
to get
person?
you her again. This one here with
Or a
the little
different
cone
person.
titties.
But even in that case, you're saying at the individual level and the societal level is destructive to the mind. Even when you're quote unquote justified,
It rots you. It rots you because the best
Pretty
you
cool.
can do
The wizard I was looking for is right here.
is to
Okay,
eke out
so
your
I-
days unfulfilled.
so the antidote,
I'm gonna
as
come
you
in hard
described, is
this way.
gratitude. Yes,
Let's see.
gratitude is the
Down
antidote
here?
to
Nope, up here.
evil in a sense.
There we go.
So
Gratitude
it's-
at the individual level and the societal level.
Gratitude is certainly the answer to resentment.
I just had him.
I quote in The War in the West this but when I read it first time a few years ago, I was absolutely floored by the brothers Karamazov. Not everything in it, by the way. I won't get into it, but I have some very big structural.
I was looking at her, and then I saw the wizard in the background. So I wanted to. His right eye is right here. His nose is right here. His mouth is down
I
here.
could get into what I
on
see
the
as
wizard.
structural flaws in the brothers Karamazov. But anyway,
Now I'm offended and triggered. And
yeah, no, I
all
mean
those-
this is coming out of Macbeth and saying, I didn't think it was much good.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
right
there's
there, I can
structural
almost get his
Yeah,
other
yeah,
eye.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
Middle
maybe
very
it's
good.
maybe I'm in the wrong direction.
When I read that novel, I was floored by a couple of things.
No,
One
it's
is
in the
of
right
course at the
direction.
moment where we realize the devil appears. The moment
Okay, here's
Ivan
another black
says
man.
to his brother,
Eye,
you know he visits me, and you
nose,
realize that
mouth
he's talking
open.
about the devil. The whole novel goes into this.
Not the largest of lips, so I don't know if we're gonna
Totally different
put him in
space.
the African
Right,
category,
it's
but he's
even more
definitely
than
black.
you've already
He's
realised
got
the novel's
this
about.
white going
And
up
then when the
his head
conversation
like
goes
this. So
between Ivan
again,
and
wearing apparel,
the devil,
I don't
I
understand. I don't know.
Describes him as dressed as a French.
But it's
strangely
obvious.
dressed in the
And
French
here's the one I was
style.
showing you the other day. I had him at a different
the,
angle. He looked more
early part of the
canine to me,
19th
but
century.
he's pretty cool
Very strange,
too.
the
This
devil would be
one here,
dressed that, but sort of-
eye, nose, mouth open, yelling out
if you
yelling
remember
out that
and
way.
he's sort of cross-legged and rather urbane figure. But the devil
him?
mentions in passing.
There's many of them.
to
There's,
Ivan that,
I can go up the whole row,
he says, I
but
don't know what
that one you should be able to
gratitude
get
is
pretty
not
good. Because you're probably running into this one now. Eye, nose, and mouth down here. Of that one.
And yeah, you're not allowed. This is not
See?
given the role
As I
of
move the
being
camera
devil,
through.
This is not one of the things.
It's just not one of the things. And you think, and of course, only a genius of Dostoevsky's stature could. I mean, a lesser genius would have made a whole novel out of that
Let's see.
insight.
I'm gonna have to wait till I do another
Only
turn to get the
Dostoevsky can
wizard
just
real
throw it
good for
away,
you.
because there's such an abundance
But
of riches.
I just showed
that he still
you
has to get through.
5 images of
The
black
structural problems aside.
humans.
But the
All right. All different nationalities of black humans just in here. Bing bang, bada boom, bada bing. And then, as a matter of fact, one of my favorites I always bring you guys in on is this one again. I just turned the angle so we'll look at him again. This one here is his face.
Why would gratitude not be a
nose,
sentiment that the devil is
mouth.
capable of?
And then there's several angles to grab him from. There's some that he has a goatee
He wouldn't be the devil.
and a mustache and a goatee.
He'd be somebody else. He has to be incapable of gratitude.
Once I do another
Do you
flip,
think for
I'll
Dostoevsky
go at
that
him
was
again
as strong of
every
an
time I do
insight
a
as it
flip.
is for you? Because I think that's a really powerful
that's why
idea.
it's important to do
that
360s on there.
gratitude, you don't get the resentment that rots you from the core.
You know, the gold chain around his neck is gold and silver. Even when I'm putting filters on and stuff, it always has a gold and silver or a silver tint, one or the other.
The era of deconstruction,
pretty
which
cool.
is one of the things I'd like us to call the era that's now ending. The era of deconstruction was the era that started, let's say, from the 60s onwards, and was originally an academic game that then spilled out into the wider culture, which was, let's take everything apart. Let's pull it all apart. There are lots of problems with it. One is it's quite boring. You don't get an awful lot from it. You also have the problem of what children find when they try to do this with bicycles, which is they can take it apart quite easily, but they can't put it back together. And the era of taking things apart
Pretty
as
cool,
a game
Fucking
is what
cool
we've lived
shit,
through,
man.
and it's been highly
It
destructive.
is. It really
But
is.
you can do it for quite a long time. I'm going to look at this society and I'm going to take it apart by showing systemic problems. I'm going to... At the end
fucking
of that, what
amazing.
have you got? What have you done? What have you achieved? We need to
What's more amazing is I've had hundreds of thousands of
interrogate.
people
By all
that
means,
I've
ask
shown
questions.
this to,
Interrogate as a deliberate hostility.
and they all refuse to go look.
I'm going